Hey guys, Lucas Soccer here. Today we are going to be looking at Pure Canine. This is going to be for the Dude format, the set that's just coming out. It should be legal for OTS today. I think this is going up Wednesday. I did want to make an announcement that later this week, we've got a set date now. It's going to be Thursday, September 25th. That should be tomorrow then. We have the Dude spreadsheet coming out. It's me and Julian Kahn. You guys know it's coming from the best sources, some of the best Yu-Gi-Oh players in the game right now. It's got all of the decks for Dude. It's got branded Draco Tail in there. It's got the Dragon version of Draco Tail. It has all of Pure Canine combos, as well as all of the updated Yummy stuff. So if you guys want to check that out, go ahead and check it out. It should be live tomorrow. Let's just go ahead and hop into the video. Starting off here, we have just Naroi. With just one Naroi, you can actually get really, really far in this deck. I think this deck is very interesting because it's a very strong mid-range deck that has the ability to play through a lot of hand traps, as well as play a lot of hand traps itself. We're going to go ahead and start off by normal swing Naroi and using the effect to actually special summon Yugioh from the deck. And here we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to go ahead and overlay into Ripper. The reason that we're overlaying into Ripper is to play it on Droll in this situation. If they did have an Imperm, they're technically supposed to use it on your Naroi, because if you go for something else or you have different combo lines, you may actually just go straight into like a Lupus, which means their Imperm doesn't ever really get value. So they're supposed to Imperm your Naroi, as well as knowing the fact like if you have another extender like Case, and they have an Imperm, then you could like potentially like activate it, and then Naroi send it and look at their hand, and then know to play around Imperm. So they're supposed to Imperm your Naroi. In that situation, then we can go ahead and make the Ripper here to play around the Droll. So we're going to use the Ripper now, detach the Yugioh to go ahead and add a Case for Canine. Then we're going to use the Case for Canine to add a copy of Canine 66B Lantern. We're going to use Lantern to revive our Yugioh. And since we have not used either of their effects yet, we're going to go ahead and use both of them. Yugioh is going to search for an Azuna, and Lantern is actually going to search for Canine EW Special Release Equipment. This is a card that I'm sure most of you have not read, but this card is ridiculous. It's basically just a trap that this deck has access to that just helps it complete like its main function a little bit better, which is just set up a few monsters as well as having multiple cards that let you access your extra deck during your opponent's turn. So this card special is a Canine monster from your hand or graveyard, and then it immediately lets you summon one Canine Xyz from your extra deck using only that monster as material. It does die during the next end phase. During the next end phase. This thing also has like a graveyard effect where it can banish itself and just reset a Canine quick play spell from your graveyard. So super cool there. You can use like your release or their Canine quick play spell on their turn, and then also use your trap card. And then during the end phase, you can like banish this to reset the quick play spell. So you have like an insane board breaker going into the turn. This card just like helps you add on layered disruptions to your board. Now that we're here, we're going to go ahead and overlay those two monsters to make a Nash Knight, and we're going to do something that Vanquish Soul was doing not too long ago. We're actually going to use the Nash Knight to attach a 104, and then we're going to put a C Nash Knight on top of it, and go ahead and detach to upgrade that into a C104, which is then going to trigger to go ahead and pop our Case for Canine. That is then going to set our Canine Force Release, and then here we're able to get literally everything. Like, look how layered this board is. We have a Ripper on our field and a C104 on our field. So like our field has some good disruptions. C104 is like basically 2 disruptions if that card gets to resolve. And then we have Ripper itself. So that's 3 disruptions right there. We have Force Release, which is 2 disruptions on its own, but that's hidden in the back row. Like even if they activate like a Harpies or something, you're still going to get that value because you'll probably just upgrade your Ripper at that point to get to like a Werewolf, and a Werewolf's hand rip is going to be insane during their turn. The trap, if they do activate like a Harpies in response to your trap, you just you summon like a Jax and put like a Lupus under it. That way you get your Lupus in rotation. But also you are able to like put a Jax on the field just for that like additional disruption. Of course, for this, your Lupus has to be in rotation, but you should have that from your Azuna at that point. Speaking of which, we do have Azuna in rotation, which is just like another interaction that's really strong into almost every matchup. That's super layered, right? And this is all off of one card. Remember, like we're still going to have 4 other cards in our hand, and with the amount of knowledge in this deck and play, there's a very good chance that you have a lot of hand traps. Let's go ahead and look at the next combo. In this situation, we have just Naroi, but our opponent has one of the better cards versus our deck, which is Perulia. So they're going to activate Perulia in the draw phase. We are going to normal summon Naroi, use the effect to special summon a Yugioh from our deck, and they're going to get 1 draw. Now that 1 draw is going to be their only draw for the whole turn, because the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use Yugioh to go ahead and add our Azuna, and then we're just going to overlay right now into Ripper. We're going to use the effect of Ripper to go ahead and detach, to go ahead and search for our Canine EW Special Equipment. And then because our opponent has used the Perulia, we're going to set the Quick Play spell right away, and we're going to set our trap card and pass. So in 3 summons and in 2 searches, we have a full layered board that we had 35 seconds ago, but it took way less commitment to this, and our opponent got 1 draw out of it. With this, like I said, you're going to have like 4 cards in your hand as well, but this is like an incredible board for like such a powerful mid-range thing, and like this is supposed to be like one of the better cards to side against your deck, because mean, the Canine cards simply used to like play into Fu Wallace really, really hard and Perelia. And so having like a very, very safe board to go for at this point in time is really powerful for this deck. Moving on, we're going to see the main function of this deck right now, which is resolving the effect of Artifact Mjolnir. Now, I know I lost some of you guys here. There's an Artifact card in our deck. What does it do? I'm going to explain it. Don't worry. But let's just look at the combo, and then we'll go through it step by step as things progress. We're going to use the effect of Yugioh to special summon Artifact Mjolnir from our hand, as well as itself. And then, just so you guys know, I'm sure there's going to be some comments on it. This card is not going to activate, because for this card to activate, it has to be during your opponent's turn to activate. But don't worry, we'll get to that later. Yugioh is now going to use the effect to go ahead and add a Noroi, and then we're going to normal summon Noroi and special summon a Lupus from our deck. We're going to overlay the Lupus and the Yugioh, making a Ripper, detaching off the Yugioh to go ahead and search for Case of Canine. We're going to use Case of Canine to then add a Lantern, and then from here we're going to overlay our Noroi and our Mjolnir, and we are going to use the effect of Princess, detaching the Mjolnir to then special summon the Mjolnir to our opponent's side of the field. Now, because this card on their field was special summoned, technically, during your opponent's turn, meaning our turn, this card mandatorily has to activate. It says target one artifact monster in your graveyard, special summon it in defense. Even though they don't have an artifact monster, it is still mandatory. They have to activate it. And it also has this funny little sentence right after it that says, also, you cannot special summon monsters until the end of the next turn, except artifacts. Except artifacts. We basically just puppet lock them, except it lasts from here until the end of their turn, right? So we have full immunity. We can do whatever we want. They can't Nibiru us. They can't Bestial us. They can't do anything to us hand trap-wise. They can't Vimena us. They can't Holy Sue us. They can't do anything right now. And then when we pass the turn to them, they also still cannot do anything because the Floodgate has already resolved. Now, Mjolnir is a very interesting card because there's not a fantastic way to access it, how things are right now. You can technically play Dagda, and you can use Dagda to set it from your deck. You can make C104 and pop it, and then you can make Princess to get it to them. But that takes so many cards, and with this deck having as limited bodies as it does, you can't really do that fluidly without playing it at basically every hand trap in the game. I think the best way to play this, really, is to focus more on drawing Mjolnir and playing with it when you draw the card. Now, I don't mean we should play 3 Mjolnirs, but there are a lot of cards that search Mjolnir, one of them being Tachyon. 7th Tachyon is not just a card that's used in Ryziel now, it is one of the most proficient cards inside of the Pure Cannon strategy. One, you have number C102, which is a light rank 5 monster that can search our friend Mjolnir here, wherever he is, somewhere. That's broken, right? We have more access to Mjolnir now. You can also reveal a dark. C104 is a dark rank 5, so that lets you search for Yugioh or Lantern. And then, as well as having Lupus, Izuna, and Noroi, that's the new guy's name, you can activate it and reveal, I think it's 104. It's Giant Red Hand, right? I think it's C104 Giant Red Hand. But you can reveal him, and he is an Earth rank 5, which lets you search for Lupus, Izuna, or even Noroi, if that's what you want to. So all of your engine cards are accessible just off of 7th Tachyon. Who cares if it Xyz locks you? It gives you more access to Mjolnir. But we're going to resolve this Mjolnir here. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and special summon our Lantern, reviving back our Yugioh. Then we can use the Lantern to go ahead and add our trap card. We're going to go ahead and overlay, make our Nash Knight. And then we're going to use our Nash Knight to go ahead and attach C104. Regular 104. And we are going to eat their Mjolnir. I guess it's our Mjolnir. We'll get it back. We're then going to go ahead and stack on the Nash Knight, use Nash Knight to detach, and then put C104 Umbral Horror. I guess the red hand is C106, something like that. But the main thing here is that we are going to use the effect of C104 on summon to go ahead and pop our case. We're going to set our quick play spell, and then with that we also have our trap card. The same board that we had in our 1-card combo. Like if we back up 45 seconds in this video or 2 minutes, whenever this video had this main combo on our field, it's everything that we have right here. The only thing is we don't have an Izuna in our hand. But in exchange for the Izuna, our opponent lost the game. I think that's a pretty fair trade. Don't blame me, but I think that's a pretty fair trade on our end at least. Let's go ahead and look at one more variation here. In this variation, we have Noroi as well as the 7th Tachyon card I just mentioned. We're going to start off by normal summoning Noroi, using Noroi to special summon Lupus, and then overlay those into our Ripper. Like I said, if they do have Imperm, they're supposed to use it on the Noroi because the odds that you have an additional extender and you can just make a God Ripper and basically put the non-targeting underneath it is very, very powerful. So here we're going to use the Ripper to go ahead and detach on our Noroi, keeping our Lupus underneath it to have the protection to search for case. We're then going to use the 7th Tachyon, revealing C102 Archfiend Seraph to go ahead and search for our Mjolnir and put back a random card from our hand. We're going to use the case now because we're pretty much protected from any hand trap to go ahead and search for Yugioh, and then we are going to begin Mjolnir. We are going to lock them again, specialing the Yugioh from our hand, special the Mjolnir. Once again, this does not trigger when we summon it because it only activates if it's special summoned during your opponent's turn. So it only activates whenever we give it to them because to them, on their side of the field, it is opponents, they can activate Mjolnir and they have to. That's all that matters. So we're going to summon it. We're going to go ahead and overlay now, make our princess, detach the Mjolnir. Because we have a 5 already in graveyard, we can use this, detach as cost, and then target the Mjolnir. So that's how that works. And then we're going to give them over that Mjolnir. It's going to activate, skip their turn, and then we can keep doing this thing we did 45 seconds ago. We are going to Lantern, add the trap, make Nash Knight, detach 2, go ahead and suck up our Mjolnir, make Nash Knight again, detach, make C104, pop our spell, and then get access to our full board. Now that's pretty much it for all the combos that I wanted to show you here today. Like I said, if you're interested in learning this deck further, because I think this deck is very, very consistent, it has a lot of starters to it. You have a lot of ways to access Mjolnir besides just hard drawing it. Like I said, you have the 1 copy of Mjolnir, the 3 copies of Tachyon. You can optionally play 7th Tachyon as a couple starters, but I don't think you need to go that deep. You have Prosperity. There's a lot of ways that you can get access to this card. Anyways, I think that's all the things that I'm going to show you here today. If you guys want to look at a deck list for this or more combos, like I said, the spreadsheet is going to be coming out on September 25th. That is Thursday. It should be tomorrow. So look out for that video. I'll make like an announcement video on it. But regardless, if you guys don't like the spreadsheets, don't purchase them, I still appreciate y'all. I want you guys to know that. Regardless, though, I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day. And if you guys wouldn't mind commenting, and subscribing, I appreciate you. Thanks. Bye-bye.